Hey beautiful people, welcome to the channel. I hope you all are doing well, mind, body, and spirit. Thank you so much for hanging out with me for a little bit today. So what we're going to do, also guys, look, I created a little background. Ah! That didn't go over well. Look, I'm so proud of it because like, I just feel like my videos are like, I don't know, I'm just super proud of it. I repurpose things in my home and I hope you like it. Some of these things were already here because this is just my decor in my living room, but I added a few things and I hope you like it. I really like it. It's simple, but it's cute to me. So anyway, what we're doing today is the Palette 5000 tag, and we're gonna go ahead and get into it. This tag was created by the Chic Geek. Love her channel, recently subscribed, definitely check her out. I will have her channel as well as the tag listed down below. Let's get into it. So the first question is, palette you wore on a special occasion. Some of these questions I just knew the answer to immediately, and this was one of them. And it is my Viseart Theory 2 palette, Theory palette in Minx. I always forget how to say this. First of all, I think if you just look at it, it'll say everything it needs. Look at that. I just love this. My best friend recently got married and I wore this to her wedding. This shade right here was my lid shade. This middle shade right here was my lid shade. It's just absolutely beautiful. The mattes blend like a dream. The only thing that I can think of when I talk about this palette, this is a product that's worth the money to me. It is just, it's a joy to put on. They blend so well. They last so well. Just everything about it. This formula is impeccable to me, and it's one of those palettes that if I had to start my collection over, if I had to only keep a certain amount of palettes, this is in there. I don't care what else has to go. This is in there. So that's that one. And since I've just shared my love for Viseart like crazy, let's just move on to the next question. The next question is, palette you love but is repetitive. I went through my entire collection and I really could not come up with anything for this, and so I didn't want to just like pick a palette for the purposes of just picking a palette. I realized I don't buy a lot of monochromatic palettes. Also guys, if I'm talking weird or anything, I have really bad brain fog because I am struggling with the migraine and I'm coming down, but it's also trying to come back up, and it's already been a week. So I'm just like, you know, I'm not really feeling the best. So just bear with me. But anyway, yeah, I don't buy a lot of monochromatic palettes. And even when I looked at the palettes I did have, I didn't really feel like there was an answer for this in my personal collection. So, but you'll see later I added a question. So the next question is, palette you got your money's worth on, and that palette has to be, without a doubt, the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. This palette is everything to me. This is normally my go-to travel palette. It still smells like peaches. This palette was a palette that was super hyped. I remember being like, do you want it, or do you want it because of the hype? And I think I waited because remember it sold out multiple times. And then eventually I picked it up on like the second or third round. So I was late to the game on getting this palette right. But seriously, this is a palette I use at least weekly. Like I have really gotten my money's worth out of this palette. I used it. I've traveled with it so many different places. There are times where I will only take this palette. Whenever I want to do my eyeshadow, I want to reach for this palette, and I have to stop myself from using this so I can use other things. So I feel like I've really gotten my money's worth, and it just surprised me. This palette even edged out my Too Faced chocolate bar palette as my #1 from Too Faced. So this is definitely my #1. The next question is, palette that is an amazing deal. Okay, let's talk about this. This is why I love talking about eyeshadow palettes. This is the Ulta Everyday Eyes eyeshadow palette. Do we know about this? Y'all got my voice getting hot. Do we know about this? Okay, this is the one that I have right here, and I want more. This is this one right here, and it is the Everyday Faves palette. Hold on, guys. I'm trying not to break my nails, okay? Got my nails done, so I'm trying not to break my nails. Here we go. So if you're not familiar with it, it does have the little clear sheet with the names on it, has a big mirror, and then these are the shades right here. Let me get close so you can see it. Can you see that? Oh my goodness. The name fits it perfectly. Everyday Faves. What occasion could you not use this palette for? I think about a beginner getting into makeup who's maybe scared of eyeshadow, amazing formula. I think, you know, if you want to keep it minimum and only have a few palettes, amazing formula. These shades blend like a dream. And I have not been the hugest fan of everything from the Ulta store brand. This absolutely blew me away. These are so like, they're so blendable. That's the thing that comes to mind for me. They're so blendable. They're very pigmented, but they're that fine line where they're not so pigmented that they frustrate you upon using them, but they're pigmented enough that you're like, oh, okay, I see what you're offering and I'm digging it. You know what I mean? Do you know what I mean? So you need to check these out. These are amazing and they're $20. And I just feel like right now when makeup is going up so high, you know, if you wanted to get an amazing eyeshadow palette that was, you know, on the more affordable side, I'm not saying the most affordable, but on the more affordable side, I think this really is great. And you get a lot of shadows in here as well. The next question is quad you love and wish was a larger palette. Now, here's the thing that you have to know for context. I don't own a lot of eyeshadow quads. I think I have like 2 or 3. Okay, so keep that in mind. And I like it that way, right? But that being said, this would be the one. And I have some thoughts on this, okay? So this is the Maybelline Eye Studio. Do you remember the Eye Studio line? Maybelline, what were we thinking? Why did you get rid of this? This is the best thing you've ever done. Absolutely. And this is in 70 Copper Chic. Look at there. I mean, do you see that? I want you to really see the colors. These are just my type of lid colors. Do you notice that? These are just my type of lid colors. Very similar to just the kind of colors I want to wear on my lid most days. I just really like that pairing. And then I love that you have this pretty pearly white one. I pair this with another palette though. But these are perfect spotlight shades on the lid. These almost have a creaminess to them when you, I just have to show you this. Let me get in here, hold on. I mean, look at that. Are you seeing that? I mean, they're really nice. So you know how like right now it's really in, like even the Makeup by Mario palette that came out, it was like a big palette, and if I'm not mistaken, one of them is like all shimmers and just like different textures like that. I would be okay if Maybelline gave me a situation like that. Include some more colors, you know, let's get some greens, some purples, let's get some other things, right? And that's fine with me. I'll pair it with a matte palette, it's not a problem. I have multiple. I would be okay with that. But also at the same time, what I love about this little palette, about this little quad, and what is special to me about it is that it is a quad. So it's cool if it becomes a larger palette, but I like it like this. So that's why I was like, let me explain how I feel about this question, because, you know, I feel ways. Okay. The next one is you love the quality of the eyeshadow, but hate the packaging. What did I pick for that? Oh, this is a very old palette. I have not even used this year at all. It's very old, but I used to use this out in my master's program. And this is the Pure Mineral Soul Mattes palette. Also, can I just say shout out to Pure, because I'm so happy to see you getting the attention that you deserve with some of your products, because I remember when Pure products were sold in Kohl's, when Kohl's had the beauty section, and I used to go over there swatching stuff and trying to save up to get stuff. And this is one of the things that I picked up. I love everything about what's happening here, but the packaging, I don't, oh, you see my little screen there? It's not that I hate it, but it's just not the prettiest packaging. You know what I mean? It's fine. It's fine, you know? It's not giving me like, oh, I get an experience when I open this. You know what I mean? It's fine. But I think that with the name Soul Matte, you know, they could have done something really pretty. Maybe a velvet situation could have even worked here. I don't know. But yeah, I don't hate it. But if I have to pick something, this is the only thing in my collection that qualifies. The next question is, show your dream palette with singles. Hang tight, because I'm actually going to do a whole video on that. So hang tight for that. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss that video when it drops. But I am going to do a whole video on my dream palette. the perfectionism in me, look, the Lord is working on me, but the perfectionist in me, I am just not ready to answer that yet. So stay tuned. Palette you like to combine together. Oh, palettes you like to combine together. Oh, I should have grabbed another one. But what I actually picked for this is the Urban Decay Wire palette. I love this palette. Just hold on a second. Oh, I should have had all of these pre-opened. Look at here. Boom. Just brightness, you know? Just absolute brightness. I love it. I pair this palette with everything. Any palette that you see here, it's probably been paired with already. I will pop of color you to death, okay? On the lower lash line, in the inner corner, across the lash line, a little liner action, you know, when I'm being fancy, I will pop of color you to death. And this is my favorite, one of my favorites, if not my favorite pop of color palette. And I just love it. I love what's happening in here. These are really pigmented shades. And I appreciate that because sometimes with colorful shades, you know, I just feel like the quality is very lacking. And so I just appreciate that this has a nice weight to it. And I really like that. I like the feel in my hand. And I love, not that anybody asked me, but I love that this is raised. Do you see that? Look at that. It's a sensation thing and I dig it. So if you're coming on my channel for the first time, you're probably like, she's weird. Oh man, it'd be like that. I'm not gonna edit that out. That's really how I feel. Large palette you wish was smaller. Okay, again, like with the other question about the quad, I don't need this to be smaller, but I think this qualifies, and let me tell you why. This is the Jaclyn Hill palette that was done with Morphe. This is the OG one, just in case, you know, I'm talking OG situation, okay? Now, this is like the only Jaclyn Hill thing that I have. This was the only thing that I was drawn to, and it stands the test of time. It's fire, it's fire, it's fire. It was fire then, it's fire now, okay? Like, it's still fire, everything about it. But, you know, oh, this could even have been my repetitive one. I'm seeing some repetitive nature. But, you know, like, could I pare this down a bit and then it be a palette that it's just easier to take with me? Yes. And the only reason I picked this one is because I wore this palette out when I first got it, and then I still used it for a very long time. It's only been in this year, to be honest with you, that I've kind of put it down a bit because I can't stop using the Too Faced Sweet Peach palette. But I wore this out, and this is the palette that if it was smaller, I would pick it up to take with me on trips and different stuff like that. It would have went with me when I went to the beach. Oh my God, when I went to the beach, you know, a couple weeks ago. But it's just a lot. Now, when I go home, I'll take it home if I'm driving, but you know, just trying to save space. So, and I'm trying to be better because I'm a terrible overpacker with makeup. So I'm trying to be better. But yeah, so if this one was made a little bit smaller, I'll take a 12 pan. I'll even take a 16 pan situation with this. I think that would still be great, but I love this palette, love everything about it. OG. And then, let me see, where can I put this? Let me see. Eyeshadow palette you wish had a matching face palette. Okay, anybody tell me if you agree on this one? Urban Decay, you missed an amazing opportunity. You missed an amazing opportunity. Like, okay, this is the Urban Decay Born to Run palette, right? And so this is what it looks like. Okay, very beautiful. And this is one of my favorite palettes, absolutely love it. And that mirror right there, giving me everything I need. The reason why I feel like this would have been a great palette to have a face palette with, just from a practical standpoint, right? Like, everything about this palette is about traveling and seeing the world and this and that, right? And a lot of times when you think about full face palettes or even like blush and bronzer palette, right? One of the things that they're touted for is like, this is a great travel palette. And so I just think with this concept, they could have done something really cool. I'm thinking of great marketing ideas that they could have done with this. I am thinking of commercials. I am thinking of just all kind of things that they could have done with this. And so, you know, all I'm gonna say is, Urban Decay, if you want to go back and create a Born to Run travel palette. I mean, how cute does that sound? First of all, talk to me, give me my cup. But second of all, do it, because people would line up to get it. And I am people, so I would need it. And then the last question, which is the question that I added, is eyeshadow palette / formula that you miss. Milani, what?
Oh no! Oh my god! See, that's what I get for getting upset. I didn't mean to yell, Milani. I'm sorry. Oh no! Oh my god!
These are the Milani Everyday Eyes palette. I have the number 5 Earthy Elements. That's that one. I don't want to reopen it again, guys, because it broke. Let's open this one very careful. And then this is the 07 Basic Mattes. You're never going to stop me from picking up a matte palette because I just love mattes. This is the best formula that Milani has ever done, in my opinion. Everything about this it's absolutely exquisite. These shadows they are the perfect mattes, in my opinion, because they're pigmented, but they're not too pigmented. They're mattes that blend well one into the other, but they still keep their substance. So when you're using these shades on the eyes, you're still going to see this. Now, obviously a little bit, you know, is going to rub off as it does when you're blending, but overall these shadows hang together very nicely. They hold their own, but they blend very well together. The stain power is really great. I don't notice fading. I don't notice anything weird with them. And I just think this formula, when Milani did this formula, I was like, high-end who? And I think this is like one of the best formulas that they ever had, and they need to do a re-release. This is amazing. So I've been running my mouth for almost 17 minutes, so I'm going to cut it here. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. I love doing this tag, and I will see you all in the next video very soon.